Hey, Humiverse fans. It's Colin with some unfortunately bad news this week. As you may know, our Longsword episode that just aired was a little bit late. And the reason is that one of the hosts has contracted the COVID 19 coronavirus. Now, he is doing just fine, and as of this recording, he is expected to make a full recovery, which is great. But with regards to our recording schedule, I don't want to burden him with trying to keep that recording schedule. I hope that this is kind of understandable to everyone. His entire focus should be on getting well. So until that time, we are going to probably take a break from a few episodes, and at the very least we'll have some late episodes. So for that, I do apologize. And as a kind of a recompense, I wanted to take some of the bonus content from our Longsword episode, which was actually really cool, and share it with you, even though it's usually reserved for Patreons. I want everyone to see this because, well, we might be a little devoid of content for the near future. But yes, thank you. So let's talk about trying to improve, and we're going to try to keep this short because we do want to start doing video reviews as extra, but I wanted to include a quick video review in this episode to kind of talk about how to improve at Longsword at any level. Obviously, if you're a beginner, there's tons of things that you can improve on, but and I would say that this episode is largely geared towards beginners, but I would also say that no matter where you are in Longsword, you can obviously always improve, and sometimes improving is just making small changes that you would be surprised the kind of change that it would make. So let me pull up some video footage of our two favorite hosts and talk about some changes that they made to their game, specifically that improved them greatly. So first up, I want to go with David's. All right, so shaky cam notwithstanding, I'm going to just pause real quick and mention that David here, my man, on the left, and on the right is a guy named Marshall Strong, who's a very good longsword fencer. This is the finals match for Surfo 2018. I'm going to stop right there. At the first exchange, David takes a cut to the hands, showing you in the frame by frame. David goes a little bit wide in his parry, and when he comes back, you can see that his parry is leading with his hands, which I think that he would admit is not the best to do, and he gets tagged on the hands. Yes, he gets tagged on the hands because of it. David, explain, please, because you're way better explaining this than I am.
Yeah, so that's so I know we're gonna go there, but that was something that I actually identified as being one of my weak points, was my outside defense with the longsword. So I started training that. But yeah, what I'm doing here basically is when I'm going to parry, I'm having my sword down low and more to my left. And so in order to parry, I bring it up because I see the attack coming, and then I kind of misread and go to the inside, but the attack is coming here. So then I have to quickly change to the other side. And what I do is I'm leading actually with my hand like this, and I get hit there, and then my parry arrives too late. So one thing that I changed in how I was training in the following year was practicing getting the points to lead and the cross guard there. So rather than parrying like that, parrying like that, or even with the false edge. So rolling and pointing, and that little change, all of a sudden I was catching attacks on the cross guard that I had always caught on the forearm. There's one other change that I made in we're going to watch the next year, Surfo.
Yes.
So there's one other change that I made, but that was a tactical decision rather than a technical decision. Or two other changes, I would say, actually.
Yes. I do want to see if I can find the exchange, however, where you did this pretty much. You did it pretty much correctly, and I apologize for the skipping, but maybe we'll just cut right to it. There it is. All right, very good. So, what you end up doing here is it is actually a parry on the inside, but you do it correctly. What's the term for this parry? I keep forgetting it, but it's like raising the window, right? You raise the window, you duck underneath, and hit in the side.
Like Chrome, yeah.
Yeah.
Crown.
But as you can see, if I go frame by frame, his sword is way high. You duck down underneath, get him down low, and then exit, which I think is great. This worked very well against Marshall, and then as I go to the next video, we'll see how it worked against him in the next coming year. I think it's very important to say that this year, 2018, you ended up with a silver medal, and that in 2019, you ended up seeing Marshall again for the same match, same tournament, next year, and you ended up beating him, which I thought was a very... It's so obvious. Like, one little change like that, changing your parry to be a little bit better, can really make such a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, there were three. I know I said before, I said there was one change. So it's really three things.
Mm-hmm.
One is the technical change of fixing my parry. Second was I fenced way more after that. And I was like, let me fence specifically to work on these things that I want to get good at,
Mm-hmm.
right? My specific like repertoire, and so I did tons of bouting. And then there's one little like tactical thing that I change in Marshall. Marshall always likes to fight with the sword low, like, and basically tries to bait you into either going first, or he'll steal distance in close enough, and then he'll attack you and he'll surprise you. He's very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stand up for this. So the one like difference I did is the year before my sword was here, and all I did was I brought it across to this side like this. And so now almost every attack that he had to make would actually come to the inside rather than the outside. So I took away his target that he wanted, because he always likes to come in and get the arm. He's very, very good at it. So this one kind of took away his target, and two, when he did go for it, the parry was really quick.
All right, let's see it.
Also, I changed my jacket. That's the main reason.
That is 100% the main reason, because now you have a white jacket like Nathan.
That's right, and then I started getting better.
Well, if you can call Nathan's jacket white.
Hey, my jacket's blue and white now.
All right, so we already have that cut around technique. Easy parry, right? I love it. Let's watch it. Let's watch it frame by frame. He comes in with the attack, and there you are, parrying. Looks like with the false edge on the outside there, which is huge change. Oh yeah, definitely false edge, because you got your thumb on top. So you're using the thumb grip. You make a nice parry and repose. You don't get him that time, but that was a close call, right?
Yeah, I think I might have hit his cross guard or something on that repose.
It looked like you were just short of his knee to me, but you know, we all see something different. And there we go. You can see it again.
The same exact technique, actually.
There you go. Yep. Same technique. You push up high, go down low. And you can see there specifically, it's a little bit difficult to see with the video, but his sword, martial sword, is actually off in this direction, whereas your sword is right there. So you lift up. This is also a great. I when I first watched this, I was like, look at how he's using ox specifically, and for both of us, I know it's very difficult to get our arms up over our head because thick jackets and big arms don't mix very well. But you do a fantastic job of it here, where it just all kind of comes together.
Well, I did one other thing, is that not only did I lift my sword, I did a level change. I dropped under the sword, so I didn't have to lift my hands as high. I just dropped my body lower.
Yeah, which I also thought was a very good change from one year to the next, and it ends up helping you basically win this fight. I'll just save us the trouble of looking at the rest of it. You do that 3 more times, and each one of them is a winner, where you hit and do not take a hit in return. So, fantastic. So point being, little changes to your game at the top level make all of the difference.
Yeah.
Now it's Nathan's turn. Here's our boy Nathan on the right here. He is that also a blue jacket?
No, it's black.
This is from Swordfish 2014. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So you can tell right away that the mats are absolutely bothering you. The mats at Swordfish, I did not realize this, but Nathan and David explained it to me. The mats are terrible to fence on, and if you're not used to them, it's really, really difficult. But also there was very much a panic reaction in your retreats, and when your footwork is compromised by mats, and B, you're having a little bit of a panic reaction either from nerves or from whatever, it's very difficult to try to fence from that. Now let's look at Nathan at the Baton Rouge Open. Now I can already tell you're much more experienced here, and you're much more solid in your fencing. But I'll also say there's still a tendency for panic reactions when the opponent gets in close, which hopefully we'll see on this exchange. Yeah. So right there you can see, I'm not sure punching is a legal move, but there's definitely that in there.
No, it was allowed.
Oh, it was. Oh, great.
Well, he didn't punch. I think he was. It was like an open palm.
Oh, okay. Well,
Palm shell in the mask.
Grappling, as everybody probably knows, is definitely legal in almost every longsword tournament. There's very few longsword tournaments that disallow grappling. So obviously, the other fencer, which is Jeremy Pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in for a grapple, and you try to back out in a way that kind of puts you at a disadvantage. It's not really a panic reaction, but it's still a retreat that was maybe suboptimal, I would say. There are several other times, I would say, where Jeremy comes in to grapple. Actually, that was a good exchange, but not the one we were looking for. There, actually, that was a great one. You stood your ground, you put yourself into it, but you're still not really consistent on making sure that your footwork stays solid, yeah, you get the idea. Now let's move to Capital Clash 2020, where I think you have specifically studied wrestling now, and you know what you're doing. And to me, you are a different fencer here because of learning grappling, of learning wrestling. This is you versus Mackenzie from Atlanta Five Hector.
He stole my shoes. Look at those.
Yeah, look at that. That is kind of surprising. Oh, and I also love that you included the one-handed thrusts in your game, which I don't think you've done a ton of those in the past, but Yeah, there we go. That's a great exchange. Boom. You deal with Mackenzie's point. You push it off to the side as he ends up closing for that flesh, right? And then you see, you turn the blade to the side. You deal with him. Let him go out of the ring. And you can even see your hand coming around for the strike, specifically not to the back of the head. Good for you.
Thanks.
I really like that exchange. But this one is my favorite because of how solid you stay where you are and you do not retreat because you know you have the higher ground. He is off balance in his attack, and it definitely it behooves you to continue what you're doing. Here it is. So here he comes. He's fleshing again straight into you. You deal with the point first. Perfect. You turn around with a Zverk. He's still coming. Look at your arm. I love this. You've only taken maybe a step and kind of a half backwards, but it's a passing step back to take his charge on your retreating side. Fantastic. Then your arm comes up to wrap his sword arm. You go for what looks like a pommel that misses maybe, but either way, you get your blade on top of him, turn and use the force of the blade and his own current momentum to push him to the ground and out of the ring.
It wasn't a pommel. He grabbed the arm and then he pressed with the strong, I think.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it was initially a missed pommel that turned into pushing, or if it was just pushing. But either way, fantastic, right? Because using the strong to push the opponent in the way that they're already moving, like their momentum is already carrying them that way. Mackenzie was already off balance, and you were able to capitalize on his imbalance using your solid grounding and good balance, which is like wrestling 101, right?
Bringing on spirit, man.
That's right. And so I love that a fencer of your caliber, a quarterfinalist at Swordfish, a top 100 fencer for the longest time, and then just a few years ago you learned to wrestle, and it immediately upped your game to a level that was beyond what you were doing, even though you were already at a super high level. So to me, that speaks volumes, right? There's always more that you can learn about longsword, and maybe other HEMA arts are where to get there, or how you get there.